Hello guys, it's Keith again with Bulletproof RC, coming back at you with the Yeti kit build. Okay, I have the parts I need to start the build. Um, Still a couple of more parts to come. I've got some Power Stroke shocks from Proline. Um, those are kind of important parts, but I'm hoping I'll have them by the time I get to that portion of the build. But the parts I was waiting on, I'd mentioned in a previous video. This is an upper chassis brace from GPM. There's your part number. And then the knuckles and hubs. This is the C hubs. There's your part number. And then this is the front knuckle part number from GPM. Guys, those parts aren't matching from GPM with the Boom Racing. They're more of a gray than a silver, but it is what it is. Also, yeah, almost forgot. I did order a T-Bone Racing chassis skid plate as well, just to kind of protect the underside of the chassis once it's built. Guys, this has turned out to be quite an endeavor with all these parts, and I'm looking forward to it. The way I'm going to do the build process is every so often I'll pause the video and at the crucial points and show you how things are coming together, how the aftermarket parts fitment and quality is, and anything I can share to help anybody else with their Yeti build. That's what the point of this is, and hopefully the end result will be a bulletproof Yeti. Just like I said in the first video, I love the Yeti. I think it's a great design. Axial does a super job of putting a base out there for people to work upon, and they're technical marvels. They really are. And you see their love-hate thing with Axial. Some people don't like them because what you get out of the kit, some of the parts aren't very durable. But you know, it is what it is. It's a crawler, or a crawler background. This is a actual rock racer, I know, but anyway, it's a different mindset from Traxxas and some of the other HPI and some of the other manufacturers out there. And either you love them or hate them, but I like them. I like Axial. I like what they put together. I love scale realism, and I love engineering, the engineering behind an Axial kit. And I think the end product, even though I've got quite a bit of money on the table here, I think the end product is going to be really something to be seen. But anyway, guys, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to get started, and I'll come back with you in just a second with an update. Okay, guys, I'm a couple of steps into the build. Things are going along pretty good. The GPM bulkhead and shock tower all went together great. Got the hot racing diff cup inside there, and that's the hardened steel gears we had talked about before, previous video. Did have to shim the pinion that goes up against the bevel. There was a little play in it, but everything shimmed out great. As far as the Boom Racing parts, this axle is awesome. No shimming required whatsoever. Perfect fit. It's just a work of art, guys. It's super smooth in there. The gears are just like they ought to be. I know there's no grease. Thought I would wait and grease up the gearing after this portion of the video. I opted out not to go with the hot racing diff locker. I just stuck with the stock Yeti diff cup with the stock Axial metal diff locker inside. Reason being, the way this is designed, it has it's in the package, so I'm not sure if you could see it, but there's two holes in it and grub screws that you use to put on either side to bite down on the axle itself, on the flat spot. I just didn't like that design. It didn't seem like it was I mean, I'm sure you could tighten those grub screws down and it wouldn't go anywhere, but I don't know. I might use it later. But for right now, the axial metal diff locker that goes inside that plastic cup, it's just a clean fit and everything went together well. So again, guys, not very far in the build, but so far I really like the Boom Racing um, parts. Okay guys, got the front clip of the car done. It's a mishmash of GPM and Boom Racing and Hot Racing. The GPM knuckles and hubs mounted up great. The fitment of everything is great. The chassis brace went together quite well. Everything's matching up great. Hot Racing steering rack, Hot Racing aluminum blue anodized pivot balls. It's looking good. Got my Savox servo in there. Next step is going to be to mount the remaining portion of electronics in there. I've got to wire up my BEC to my ESC with the proper length wires. So that's next step. You guys got most electronics installed. The ESC is mounted. Decided to use the 2-speed transmission servo location for my Hobby Wing BEC. That's required to put out the 7.4 volts that the servo needs in order to crank out 444 ounces of torque like I need it to. If I decide to use a two-speed transmission down the road, I'll just relocate that. I also want to mention, I don't know what everybody else is doing with their wires, but I mounted the switch underneath the ESC behind the servo. It's not in the way of anything. The servo still functions properly. And then also I put a wide connector off the receiver, and I just got it coming out back here right now. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it, but I want to put LEDs in the car later, and I just didn't want to dig back in there and get to the receiver after everything was put all together. Another thing I wanted to mention, I almost forgot about the Hot Racing front sway bar. Guys, I don't really recommend this if you haven't purchased it. It's not worth the money. It's a piece of wire and a couple of pieces of anodized aluminum. It looks okay, I guess, but I've got the stiffest sway bar on right now, and it's very minimal action going on. It's nothing like the other sway bars I've had in the past. In fact, my EXO has SCTE sway bars, and they perform better than this. So anyway, just thought I'd give you that tidbit of advice. I wouldn't purchase the Hot Racing front sway bar. Hey guys, got the center transmission mounted up. The Boom Racing products have exceeded my expectations. Everything went together great. The transmission gears are smooth. I did have a problem, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. The Boom Racing motor mount, the spur gear cover, everything is top quality, guys. I would recommend Boom Racing products to anybody. I got the motor mounted up. The Gen 3 Robinson Racing slipper clutch is under that spur cover, and I think it's turning out pretty good. However, back to the rear transfer case, I used the Robinson Racing extra hard idler gear and output gear they offer, and basically both those gears, they go in this rear transfer case right here. You got a center transmission. Your spur gear is up here, and there's a shaft that goes back into this transmission. 2 gears are in here, and that transfers down to the rear transfer case, which is actually a separate piece that bolts to this, and it has 3 gears in it. The idler gear was in the middle, and then the output was in the last position there. Basically, that is what turns your rear drive shaft and front drive shaft. But anyway, those Robinson Racing gears, everything looked great, mounted up great, but when I rotated the transfer case by hand before I attached it to this one, there was a rough spot in the gears, and after taking it apart 3 times and reassembling, trying to rectify the problem, I just determined that the gears have a problem. I tried using them independently, one without the other, and vice versa, and they're just not smooth. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm going to give Robinson Racing a call. These are the parts I'm talking about right here, just for information. But again, guys, went back to the stock Yeti gears and put them in the transfer case. Everything's smooth. So I haven't really heard anyone having transmission failures in the Yeti anyway, so maybe I'm okay without the extra hard gears. But I have added quite a bit of weight to this chassis by all the aluminum parts. In fact, that's one of the main reasons I decided not to use the factory shocks and go with Power Strokes. Those should be in next week sometime. But anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. I'll resume the build process with another video coming up soon. Should be able to finish the build with that one. And I sure do appreciate everyone watching. Thanks and have a great day.